apologize that your work is requiring more of you because they get the benefits of that. You may have to sit them down and help them understand that. You want to know where your Air Jordans came from? Daddy's job. And this is the trade-off. But you invest them in it so that they feel like you care about what they want and that meeting their needs is a priority for you. So the myth is time served. It's how we invest our time, not how much time we invest.
That was
I love
golden. Thank you. Perfect. Just exactly what I need to hear.
awesome. That's awesome. Welcome, Landon. How are you? Nice
Hi,
to see
Landon.
you.
Hey, what's going on? Good to see
I'm
you guys.
honoring that I'm at the beach. So the beach is literally out my window.
I love it.
I
Awesome.
have a fake beach, but she has a real one. That's rude.
I'm like a
Welcome. Nice
mile
to
from the beach.
me too. Me too. And yet do I go? Never. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All
right.
right. Who's next? I have one if no one else does. I have one. So, Susie, I have a question for you. So, I'm a little fiery, obviously. And in general, I tend to be a little bit, direct and blunt. As a leader, I'm not always tasked with the easiest job, right? And it seems that no matter how I seem to frame the feedback that I'm giving a company that I'm working with, I know that people are going to not like me for about the first, 60, 90 days, right? But if I can get through that 90 days, it'll be better on the other side. I'm curious, because I do name it, I do map it out, I call out what I know will happen behavior wise, but I'm still having that challenge of if the leaders like me, but the team doesn't, right? What they will, I call them onboard terrorists, right? So like they purposefully are late to the meetings, or we did a team dinner, and so we went to the team dinner, and then the next morning half the team didn't show up because they were too hungover. So this is a client that I'm working with in New York, and I'm just to the point where I've never used the fact that I'm a woman or that I don't look like everybody that I'm working with, right? But I think that's something to be said. And so I'm wondering from your experience and your lens, I was kind of thinking of getting like maybe a middle-aged ish white guy that I would hire to bring on to the team for this project. I've done this before where I've hired kind of my leadership beard because the information has to be delivered from a different person. I'm curious to know how you would navigate that.
So a great and very deep, multifaceted question. I would say strategically, you lead from the outcome you want. Because I know you, I can answer this differently. I know that you don't lead with ego, and I know that for you to hire a leadership beard, it is for a greater outcome. If you can live with that with congruence, because the outcome is I want the team to get the message. I don't care who the messenger is. So that is one option strategically. It's a three-dimensional chess in a world of checkers. That if you're willing to do, that is a great high-level strategic initiative to get the outcome. Most people wouldn't even think that far ahead. And so the kind of if you don't do that, you've got to get buy-in from the top. And sometimes it's the person who has hired you, who believes in you, who needs to be the one that goes to the team and says, "Hey, listen." And again, name it. You don't have to like this, but here's the agreement. Here's what we're doing. Here's your responsibility as part of this team, and I expect buy-in. So if you, as people are hearing this, if you don't have the resources to go with a leadership beard, but you need to make sure a team gets a message, putting your ego outside and going, who's the best one to deliver this message is a great strategy for making sure that people get to where you want them to go. Again, outcome results driven, and people aware. And so use the players on your board. And so the person who hired you, who likes you, who's aware that you may not be warm and fuzzy with people, to go, you know what? I trust Marissa. She's the person I've invited into this space. And we as a team are going to engage with her this way and let them do that. That's the other piece. And if you're not on board with that, let's have a conversation. And so almost call it out preemptively. That's another way to handle it. I'm not a big waster of time. Um, and I also look at the data, and I know you do this as well, and go, hey, this is a repeated pattern. We have to address this because and this is the other big one. Here's the cost. Here's the cost. If you look at your people and four of them came in hungover and that's $20 an hour and they lost 2 hours, here's the math on what it cost you at this meeting this morning. If you're willing to pay that cost, then okay. If you're not, then we need to shift our strategy. Numbers speak.
Okay. Thank you. I
And
appreciate
if you're
you.
really clever, hire leadership. I love that.
I'm a leadership
spent,
beard. Landon, are you free? Do you want to come to
Yeah,
New
yeah.
York?
I have sent men who look different than me, who are different age than me, in with my message before because I've not wanted to do the long game, like the long haul, the slog, and it's not worth it. Other times you have to do it.
1000%.
Yeah, because you need to be the person 3 moves later leading the meeting, and you can't afford to just have a message delivered. So
Yeah.
you got to look at the dimensions of what you're doing,
Yeah.
and then link it to cost. What are the sunk costs in not speaking up for this
Yeah.
leader?
Thank you. And
Okay.
Landon, I didn't mean to indicate that you're middle-aged. I'm sorry. That's not what I
Oh,
meant.
Well, I am 40, so
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, we're halfway there. Okay.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think that's middle aged, right? And I
That's
do
middle.
kind of have a beard.
Yeah, so it'll work. It'll work.
Yeah.
Any, anybody else have anything burning desire? I have some cool things that are trending too that we can talk about as well. But hey, Tony, nice to see you.
Hello.
Hello. Everyone's on their office today. Hi, Barb. So I have a question because I pulled this up and I saw it trending today. Has anybody seen any of the content around the loneliness kind of epidemic? Specifically, I think it would apply to maybe some of the people that are on this call because it's specific. It looks like it's specific to men and community. And so there's been this rise of, especially with leadership retreats and founder retreats, specifically designed for men to have integration of personal and professional development. And what they're finding, Susie, a lot of what you teach around naming, around going deep, around it's really interesting. And I'm just curious if anyone on this call as a leader does feel maybe a little lonely or a little not lonely, but when you're in an organization, when you run it, I mean, I know I used to have like 30 something employees. I don't have anyone to bounce anything off of. No one wants to challenge me because I'm the boss, right? And so like I hired a lot of outside help. So I'm curious for all of the men on this call if you've experienced any of that or, at least I know Landon, you're working with companies too. And I would love to hear it and get Susie's perspective on that as well.
So is the question, guys, do you resonate with these new statistics?
I'm just curious because I'm always like, is that real? But I'm wondering, I'm just curious.
I'm not sure what I didn't even know there was one.
Is it lonely being an entrepreneur?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The alternative is not fun. The corporate life is not. It's worth it to be lonely sometimes as an entrepreneur and not be in the 9 to 5 world. That's just not worth it to me. Plus, like I've had the luxury of being with Tony's communities for about a year now, and that's given me everything I needed for support as a male entrepreneur. So anyways, I prefer the little bit of loneliness that comes with it once in a while to the corporate life.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anecdotally, I would say that the research has borne out what I have anecdotally experienced in 25 years in this business. I would say men today are more savvy and more open and able to say, hey, I want support. And there's communities like Tony's, which aren't just male driven, or like our Breakthrough Mastermind, where we come together and we talk about real stuff. I think Tim's question at the beginning begs the subject or begs the question of, it's a lot to navigate personal and professional and being able to cross back and forth. And I feel like over the last probably 10 to 12 years, there has been an uptick. Like I'm invited to speak at some of these men only things, because there's a space of what's it like? How do we navigate this? How do we be the best version of ourselves personally and professionally? So anecdotally, I mean, it's fun to see research for something I've been banging a drum on for a while. So yeah.
Yeah,
tip.
I think I thought I would just share the stats. It said basically like 47% of men report only having less than 4 close friends, which is half the rate of 30 years ago. And 20% of men report that they don't have any close friendships. And then there's some great stats though around people that are in communities. So I know most of us are in some type of community. So that would make sense why we may not have that same experience. But I thought it was fascinating. So
It is. And I would say to you as men in the room, be aware. Be aware because there's probably people in your circle who don't have what you have, and it gives you an opportunity to connect and care that could, help somebody in a tough spot in their life all the way to lead to a golf game in business. Like just be aware.
I've not seen the study, but thanks for the statistics.
yeah, I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff because what I try to figure out is what is it that people crave? And all I know is like some of us were at like Aaron's birthday, he did like a general invite and like I'm gonna invite people to San Diego, obviously for those that are coming. And I think I get excited when I get to see everyone because that kind of fills me up and then that lasts for a while. Because then I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. You know how that goes. But yeah, Susie, what else are you seeing? Because I know you've been on site a lot, so I'm curious.
Um,
Like,
if we chase this down a little bit, which I'd love to do if you guys are open, it is this idea. So let's like with one of the reasons we shifted some of what we do with Breakthrough Mastermind is this idea of community, is this idea of people being in your corner and an ability to say, hey, I'm having a great month. I just talked to a client today and he had the best month. We do some strategy. We looked at his P&L. We did some massive strategic engagement in his business. And he had just lost a massive client. So some majorly strategic initiatives, had his best month. And he was like, and the people I can share that with, the circle is so small. So the flip side of being lonely on the lonely side is who's celebrating what you're doing with you. Who do you call when you just had your best month or you landed the client or you let me use Landon, you implemented some systems that have absolutely rocked your world and accelerated your profit margins. When you do that, who do you call? Who do you have those conversations with? So it's the flip side of the lonely and the celebration. It's like, who do you get to have real engagement with? And one of the things they're finding in longevity and healthy studies is your longevity and long-term health is absolutely related to that. So you'll make more money, you'll have more fun, you'll, live longer, you'll be healthier based on the realness of a small circle of people. And so for you, as a whole, I'd say I start watching for that. I'd start looking, going, do I have people who celebrate with me? Do I have people who I can call when I'm having a tough day? And if not, how am I crafting that? And I know, like for us at the Breakthrough Mastermind, one of the things we've done specifically to help bridge that gap between our members is have these weekly AMAs. So it is a time to connect. It is a time to not just ask me anything, but celebrate each other. And are there any big wins that you want to share? It doesn't have to just be about my answering questions, but the idea of coming together as a community and going, hey, here's what's going on in my business. It's not just the 3 times a year meeting. So I would open it up for that as well.
So why were the numbers twice as why do men have twice as many friends 10 years ago or whenever that study said? Like why is that? Like, what
Um,
happened?
I haven't read the study that she said. Conjecture is partially culturally. We live in a very isolated society now. We live virtually. We don't engage. People had community-based lives before. That's going to be my guess is the reason, whether it was in a recreational, social, spiritual, even a corporate world, they would consider they had friends. And so if you look at some of the stats of how isolated we've become, I believe that's probably part of it. I mean, look here, we're meeting. This used to be in a room. This used to be go to BNI,
Well,
go to
yeah, I think COVID
Chamber.
has actually had a lot to do with that. There's a lot of studies on the detrimental effects of the lockdowns on children, but what about adults? What about male adults like the study is? What that changed everything. That locked people out of communities and their social network at work, and
Correct.
we all went to Zoom.
Correct. And so how many times so let's go back to like, come to San Diego, be in the room, be with people, get with the energy. You cannot connect over Zoom the way you can connect in person. We just can't. And so it's, are you intentional about caring for your soul, your psyche, as much as you are for your revenue? Because I guarantee you they're linked. I guarantee you they're linked.
So why is it so much higher for men?
Conditioning.
Did I misunderstand the results of the study?
That was specific to men.
Pardon me?
That is specific. The study that she read was specific to men. I believe it's cultural conditioning. It's years of what a man's supposed to be like and how they're taught and what they're conditioned to be like. So I think it's shifting with our younger generations now. But I would say that's probably again, I don't have the study in front of me, but anecdotally, and the work I've done with, I worked for a long time with a bunch of executives in the DoD and some politicians and some of the big defense organizations in the DC area. And this is how we're supposed to be. This is who we're supposed to be. And I remember I told one guy I worked, I was like, you need to find a friend to just do some fun stuff with. And he was like, wait, what? You need to find a guy friend who you can go, my wife's driving me crazy. My job is burdensome. I said, because he'll get it. He'll get that there's a difference. And I can tell you theory, but I'm not a guy and I don't bear the same weight you do. So I think it's cultural. Great question, Bart.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I've worked with Susie for several months now, and one of the things that I work on is this. Like I'm the creator of a bunch of communities and the leader of a bunch of communities, and I can tell you this, like I have massive bouts of loneliness because I don't have the buddy that I can call on a weekend and say, hey, do you want to just go play 9 holes with no expectation of, us talking business or anything like that. And when I talk to people that are in my communities, I feel a sense of need that, well, no, I gotta make sure they
Like I
know
have to
that,
serve them. I have to be there
yes,
for them. I need to check in on how they're doing.
yes, that's it. And I can't just call somebody and say, hey, you want to just go grab a burger just cause? Like I
Yeah.
feel like there's got to be some sort of help that I give instead of me just saying, I just need a friend. I just need somebody I can just go hang with. Do you want to go play 18 holes? And I don't have that in my life. And I don't know if it's my childhood. Well, I know it's my childhood. I know there's a lot there that I'm still working on, but it's a very real thing. This is a very real, and I don't know the difference between men and women. I mean, Tiffany, it sounds to me like I was just preaching your soul, where you're like, oh, well, let me tell you that because I just totally felt you there,
I was just gonna say I was just barely talking to Susie about this, where I think it's not men specific. I think it's probably like a working person specific / boss specific, where it's like I'll find myself in my closet sometimes and I'm like, there's no one I can call about this. That this wouldn't feel like threatening to their job or to their, like like if I fully expressed how I'm feeling about this to someone, they wouldn't be able to take it. They wouldn't know how to handle this. Or do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or was that Bart?
Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. Yeah, where it's like, even if I talk to my husband, who also is a boss, but he might be like, okay, well, how does this affect our family or our marriage? And if I talk to my business partner, but do you know what I mean? Like everyone has like a little too much
a role, a need from you, right?
a role or a need from me. So it's like, okay, who can I talk to that can just be my friend? You know what I mean? But then it's like, well, you can't really be there because you don't understand what it's like to be a working mom and a working husband and a working, all the things. Like, it's like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just for what it's worth, I just checked chat and 15% of women feel lonely and 16% of men. So it's not a great difference overall. But your point with respect to being a boss, which is what I've been for almost my entire life, I have great relationships with my employees, but there's certain things that I just don't share.
Right,
Okay.
that you can't share.
When I see that we're going to go off a cliff in 30 days if something doesn't happen, I don't share that with the company. I share it with my wife. And in terms of friends, I have some very long-term friends, but it's not usually centered on business. It's usually centered on other interests and other things that we do. Although I'll share those kind of things with them, but not necessarily with employees. And if we have a huge win, and it means that we're now not going to go off the cliff, I'll share that, but it's always in somewhat of a guarded way, because all of a sudden everyone wants a raise when they don't realize that you've been losing money for the last 8 months, if you know what I'm saying. And you just have to, that's when they say, it's lonely at the top. I think that's at least my experience.
Well,
Yeah.
if you want,
Also,
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tiff.
sorry, I'm just so happy to. Are you Robin's dad?
Yes, I am.
It's so nice to meet you. I love your daughter more than life. She's such a rock star.
I agree with you on that, Tiffany. I do.
Yeah. She has helped me with my business so much. So you did a very good job training her.
Listen, she's a self-made person, okay? I'll
Yeah,
just tell
she
you,
is. She's
Robin
a
was
badass.
a parent's worst nightmare, and I won't go any further than that. Anything you could dream up that a kid could do that would be wrong, that would be her. And
I
every
know, she's told
person
me.
could do that would be right, that would be her as well. But she's
Yeah.
been on a good track for a long time, and her association with your group here has been a huge life change for her, and some other things as well. And she's gone through many things that are much harder than I have ever faced. But thank you for saying that, Tiffany.
She is remarkable. We do love Robin. So we have a minute left. I would say in the discussion that we're having, something that is profoundly important, and there is research that, like, we think we have a personal and a professional life. We have a life. We have, and all of our personas are impacted deeply by everything is energy. And if you don't like the word energy, use the word everything spiritual. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And so whatever is happening deep within us shows up in our business, in our personal and our professional life. If your bottom line is not where you want it to be, some of that's related to what's going on deep inside of you. And so as we talk about this topic of deep connected relationships, not having one is costly. Having one is also costly because you've got to invest time, energy, vulnerability, and being in the mess with people. And so it's the meme of choose your hard. Choose your hard. Being healthy is hard. Being unhealthy is hard. Tim, to go back to the question that opened the thing, being successful in business is hard. Not being successful in business is hard. The family piece is hard. And I don't think hard is bad. To me, it's like, okay, well, let's pick the challenges we're going to face. And so
Right.
in all the years of working with executives, and I've never seen somebody split themselves in two and be able to totally segment their lives. And so if you're struggling, like have the guts. I mean, I've said this to Tony before. Invite somebody out for a burger and go, let's just go talk about burger and basketball. Or I got to share something with you. Can you begin to be my friend? It's really, kids are so good at this. Want to play, want to do. And as grown-ups, we have all these lenses and all this stuff going on. And we don't say that because we're not sure how we're going to get received. But gosh, I feel like I'm the meme queen. Be the change, be the friend you want to be, do the work so that you have the support when it gets hard and the celebration circle when it's amazing. Choose your heart, invest because it will make a difference. We are Breakthrough Mastermind. We talk a lot about business. I think it's all incredibly integrated. So thanks for being here today. I want to honor the time. If you're not registered for San Diego, get registered. Get in the room with people who are your community. We'd love to have you there. And we will see you next week for AMA again.
Thanks all. Love you
Thank
all.
you.
Thanks, Susie.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tony.
Thank
Nice to meet
you.
you, Tiffany. Bye-bye.